Welcome to the first Dia de los Muertos celebration presented by the San Angelo Hispanic Heritage Museum and Cultural Center. I'm Manny Diaz. I'll be guiding you through this three-day event that will introduce you to the culture of Hispanic society, involving this wonderful celebration of life, if you will. It's one thing for me to introduce these fine folks here, but it's another for them to do it themselves because, man, this is just a wonderful committee, a wonderful organization. I'll let Del take it away right here.
Thank you, Manny, and I agree with you. Hi, my name is Del Velasquez, and I'm the president of the organization.
I'm Susana Valenzuela. I'm the vice president.
I'm Monica Ramos, and I'm the treasurer.
I'm Annette Molinar, and I'm the secretary.
All righty, there we are. So 4 fine individuals who have created this wonderful organization. I'll start off with this, Del. We've talked about this for the last few months, but I'm assuming that this was years in the making, so to speak, for this organization.
Not exactly years. How about months?
Okay, yes,
So actually what happened was Susana called me one day and said, hey, why don't we put together an event that would introduce the Hispanic Heritage Month. And so we created a celebration at City Hall. It was really more of a media event. We had the Lakeview Mariachis. Dr. Flor Madero gave a dissertation about 16 de septiembre, which is the date that we kicks off the Hispanic Heritage Month. And we had such a great response. And the other thing that happened was Susana created a Hispanic Heritage Facebook page. And again, we saw the numbers of people who were interested in liking the page. And we started discussing, now what else can we do? How can we take this even further? And so the concept of creating a museum and culture center was born.
That's awesome. Susana, this is, you and I, as well as Monica, we've had many discussions about this event. How important is it to not quite introduce, but to continue to put on display what this holiday, this event, Dia de los Muertos means to not only San Angelo, but a lot of folks here?
Yes, and so we were really excited to be hosting a live event this year, but due to COVID, we had to go virtual. And so we just felt Dia de los Muertos was such a great opportunity to introduce this tradition to the public, and it's something that hadn't been celebrated here in San Angelo before too much. So we wanted for people to really understand what it is. So that's why we decided to go this route and create the educational content so that people can really come to understand the culture and the tradition of the event.
Yes, and it is a wonderful event, a beautiful culture, where we're going to see so many different things, from musicians to artists to the historical and spiritual presence of this wonderful event. But with that said, we will get started with things here. And to kick off our show is none other than Angelo State professor, Dr. John Klingeman.
My name is John Klingman, and I'm the Dean of the College of Arts and Humanities at Angelo State University. Well, Dia de los Muertos is something that is celebrated throughout all of Latin America, but it is principally associated with Mexico. And as far as the historical significance, there's 2 things that we need to take into consideration. One, a lot of these practices were present in tribes that existed in the Western Hemisphere prior to contact. And so whether they're tribes in what is today northern Mexico or southern Mexico, they all had practices that celebrated the dead. The other thing to consider is that after conquest, you have the introduction of religion, Catholicism, into the New World. And so what you have there is a happy medium between cultural and religious indigenous practices and Catholicism. And so what you have afterwards, obviously, is with Dia de los Muertos, is the celebration of the dead. That is a mix of indigenous religious and cultural practices mixed with Catholicism. So there are certain characteristics that are pretty constant throughout all of Mexico when it's associated with Dia de los Muertos. For instance, an altar. A lot of people actually construct an altar, and there are certain items that go into these altars. There are flowers, for instance, certain types of flowers in Mexico that are always a part of the altars. There's also the incense copal, which is from the copal tree. It's the resin of the copal tree. There's also the pan de muerto, or the bread of the dead. There are photos that are put in place of people who have passed on from family members. And there's also calaveras or skeletons that are a part of the altars. And these are quite beautiful and they become quite ornate. And so if you ever have an opportunity, look them up because they are an integral component of Dia de los Muertos.
And a very special thanks to Dr. John Klingeman from Angelo State University. By the way, you can catch a Dia de los Muertos exhibit at the San Angelo Museum of Fine Arts beginning on Friday night at 6 p.m. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and take a quick break with two very talented gentlemen in Willie Alvarado and Nathan Lopez.
My name is Willie Alvarado. That is my friend Nathan Lopez. We're gonna do a little bit of entertainment for you guys for the special day, the holiday of El Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. This is a very important holiday for us because we celebrate the passing of our loved ones that have gone to the next life. And our first song we're gonna do for you is Ella, She. It's written by Jose Alfredo Jimenez. This song is about she went away and she wanted to stay, but the story was written and so they toasted one last time. It's a great mariachi song. I hope you guys enjoy it. Me cansé de rogarle, me cansé de decirle que yo sin ella de pena muero. Ya no quiso escucharme. Si sus labios se abrieron, fue para decirme, ya no te quiero. Yo sentí que mi vida se perdía en un abismo profundo y negro, como mi suerte. Quise hallar el olvido al estilo Jalisco, pero aquellos mariachis y aquel tequila me hicieron llorar. Me cansé de rogarle, con el llanto en los ojos, alcé mi copa y brindé por ella. No podía despreciarme. Era el último brindis de un bohemio con una reina. Los mariachis callaron. De mi mano sin fuerza cayó mi copa sin darme cuenta. Ella quiso quedarse cuando vio mi tristeza, pero ya estaba escrito que aquella noche perdiera
Hello, my name is Chandra Satterwhite and I'm a local face painter and artist in San Angelo, Texas. I have currently been doing face painting for about 10 years now, and today I'm going to show you how to do a Dia de los Muertos sugar skull face paint. Let's get started. So what I like to do with a sugar skull face versus a skeleton face is I like to really make a nice clean, crisp edge around the sides of the face. And I will generally make the face a little bit whiter than I would on a regular skeleton face, just to make it pop a little bit more. Depending on how big you want your eyes to be will depend on how much face paint you get into the eye socket area. So I generally like to cover up the eyebrows a little bit and a little bit more than I need, because it's easy to pull the paint out if I need to. And notice that I didn't do a whole lot on the lips. You can paint the lips white, or later you can leave them unpainted and add your favorite color lipstick. Generally bright red is used, but you can use whatever color you want. So now that we have a white base on our face, we're going to work on the main parts of the sugar skull, which is going to be eyes, nose, mouth, and then last we will do embellishment. My color palette that I picked out today is going to be more of a warm color palette. So we're going to use a lot of oranges, yellows, and reds. Probably use a little turquoise at the end as well. So next I'm going to start with the eyes. And I'm going to put 2 tones in her eye socket color. So first we're going to start with our lighter color, orange. We're going to do that more on the inside. Next, I'm going to pull some red in there on the sides. And we're going to blend those colors. You can really use any color palette that you like. Just pick a couple of colors that blend well together. And to get a more seamless, smooth transition with our gradient, I generally layer the colors on top of each other twice to get a nicer mix. And see, now you can see that orange really popping and coming out. So now that we've filled in our sockets, we're going to move on to the nose. A lot of sugar skulls have a lot of black in them with only a little bit of accent. So that's what we're going to do today. Is I'm going to get out a round brush. It's pretty small. So we're kind of making like this teardrop shape. So this is one way you can do it. And you can make it as big or as small as you'd like. So as you can see, I've gone down to a much smaller brush for my detail. The next thing that we're going to focus on is the mouth. So with Christina, I'm going to leave her mouth white, a little bit more traditional sugar skull, but like I was saying before, you can add whatever color lipstick you want in between. What I like to do is I like to go ahead and start off with your smile lines. So we're going to pull it out. And then the next part is going to be the effect of showing like the teeth and the bones on the skull. And this part is very simple. All you have to do is put lines going upwards and downwards, about as far away as your teeth would be. A little bit more embellished, so we could always take this smile line that we made and put a beautiful little curl on it. So now we have our mouth, our nose, and we've started on our eyes. So now we're going to finish off our eyes. I like to do the color on the inside and then a black outline. I think it looks a little bit nicer and cleaner, and there's not so much black on the face. For me, what I like to do is this black line I was telling you about around the eye. I like to put the eyebrows in that line, and then that way whenever I go for embellishing and stuff later, it's a little bit easier because I don't have to work with that hair, and I'm also not worried about like gluing someone's eyebrows down or doing any extra work like that. So now we have our basics. We have our eyes, our nose, and our mouth. So now we're going to move on to embellishments. Some things that you could do to make this a more masculine face paint is you can always put the mustache right here. You could also add more swirls. Spider webs are a very common theme as well. You could do like a big spider web or something on the forehead. What I'm going to do for Christina is I'm going to put a spider web on her chin to show you what that would look like, and then I'm going to put a flower on top for her and show you a little bit more feminine design. But just know that there are a ton of different ways that you can go about doing your sugar skull face paint. So for a spider web, I generally start inward and then go out to where it shoots out. So for the web part, connecting all of the lines together, it's just a series of U shapes. And that's how you get that nice webbing. So now we're going to just do the same thing we did with the red and outline it in black. We don't want to cover up the red totally, so we're going to put the lines right beside the red lines. Okay, so now that we have the spider web, we're going to finish off some embellishments, and we're going to put a flower up here. So for Christina's flower, let's do something a little bit to make it a little bit more colorful. So we'll do turquoise and purple for the top. You take your brush, you set the point down, and then you set the rest of your brush down. And it makes this big, beautiful petal shape. And if you notice, I only put a little bit of purple on that brush, and see how much purple gets on there. So that's why you only load the brush up just a little bit with your second color for a two-tone. Next, I'm going to put the center of the flower on. We'll do yellow, and just a dab of yellow in the middle, because we will be adding to this as well in a minute. So at this point, I'm going to use a smaller round brush, just like I used before, except for it is probably about a third of the size. And this is going to be for the little teardroppy frill marks that are going to go around her eye to really set the eyes off and be the focal point of the piece. It's going to be the same type of technique as you would use on a two-tone flower petal, except for you're only using one color. And you take the point and you just drop it down, and it makes these beautiful little teardrops. Now we're going to finish embellishing this flower, and then we might do a few little swirls if it looks like it's needed, or we might be done. A lot of the times when people dress up with a sugar skull costume and face paint, they have flowers adorning their hair and bright, beautiful dresses on. So that's why I chose to add a flower to Christina today, because generally that's what you will be seeing women wear. So now I think that we are done with our face paint. We are going to add some glitter to her eyes to make a nice embellishment, and a little bit to her flower, and then we'll take a few pictures, and then we'll show you what it would look like if you added some rhinestones on there as well for an embellishment. I just have some glitter in my hand right here, and I'm taking my finger and I'm pressing it on. Generally the paint is still a little bit moist, and you can just press it on because this glitter is so fine, but you might have to give your eye just a little bit of a spritz to keep the glitter on. And now finally we're going to add a few rhinestones just to show you what that would be like and show you how to apply them. So once again, these are just crafting rhinestones. These happen to be sticky, but they do not have to be, because we will be applying them with a body safe eyelash glue. So we're going to take our eyelash glue, and for me, I already have these nice frill marks with this black, these teardrops that we made. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the rhinestones around this black circle part on her eye. So we'll try one and see if it sticks. Looks good. So we'll go ahead and keep going. For the smaller rhinestones, anything smaller than about this size, I would have to use a pair of tweezers, but fortunately I can get them off with my hands right now. If you guys are interested in having someone paint your face, I do offer personal appointments for face painting. You're welcome to contact me and set up an appointment time. My number is 325-212-2533. You can call or leave a text message, whatever is at your convenience. Thank you guys for watching again, and y'all have a good day.
All right, as our celebration of Dia de los Muertos continues, joining us now on the program is the very lovely Aurora Prieto, a very talented real estate agent here in town with Newland ERA, and of course an events manager, if you will. with Aurora's Creations. Very, very good at organizing events and putting on very beautiful things. And of course, today we're talking Dia de los Muertos. Aurora, first and foremost, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
This celebration has so much meaning to Hispanics and Latinos, across the board. From your family's perspective, what's this celebration been like?
Well, ever since I was small, I remember my mom buying what she would call coronas. And I don't see them here very often, but basically they look like a Mexican bread, the concha.
Okay.
And it's an oval cardboard, and you get the paper mache and just small intricate flowers, not the ones that you see that are all puffy, but beautiful intricate flowers, and you create this crown. They call it a corona. And it's covered with the plastic, and from early on, they start ordering those. And the day of November 1st, the 2nd, actually it used to be a week-long celebration. I remember my mom ordering those and going to the cemetery and taking them to my grandpa's.
That's cool.
Yes, and so that is something that I remember, and they're very beautiful. I don't see them here, but they are very prevalent in Mexico, and you can go to the cemetery and there is an array. I mean, just all you see is color everywhere from people taking them.
That's one thing you got to appreciate about the Mexican culture, certainly the Hispanic culture, is the colors, the vibrant colors of every single thing.
Beautiful. Yes.
And then, don't get us started on food. You're mentioning the conchas there. Yeah, I feel like I need a café en concha there.
Yes, of course,
Café con pan. But now, as someone that organizes events, I imagine you've seen things just evolve over the years. How much have you seen, incorporating of this holiday, or certainly just, remembering the past?
It has definitely changed. In the last couple of years, I've seen an increase. And actually, every single wedding, I can't even think of one wedding that this has not happened, where we have a memory table.
Wow.
And people want, I have a sign, and I'm sure a lot of decorators have it too, that says, if heaven was not so far away, you would be right here with us. And then they have pictures. We decorate the table, and there's pictures of family members that have already passed away. I used to never do that.
Wow.
And now every single event, now there's a few quinceañeras that don't do that, but some quinceañeras do, but every single wedding that I decorate for, they say, we want a memory table. And that's exactly what they're talking about. Just remembering a late person that was a family member that they loved and that they wish was there for the event.
Man, that's awesome.
Yes.
Now, we were talking about earlier that you actually had a Dia de los Muertos themed wedding.
Yes.
I imagine that's got to be a little bit different,
It's definitely
but certainly
different.
festive at the
Yes.
same time.
Cake topper was a Catrina with a skeleton all tuxedoed up. And the vibrant colors, the sarapes, just a lot of sugar skulls. And it's very popular. I mean, it's very colorful, it's very beautiful, very different. If you want to be unique, that's one way to be unique. But I have done a wedding like that. I've done lots of quinceañeras that are like the fiesta theme. That's definitely in style. But they bring in the Catrina, in the middle of all the beautiful and the colorful and the fiesta theme and the papel picado. Here's the Catrina. And you're like, that's different. But that's just bringing in the culture. I think it's so beautiful for people not to forget that. That, it's a beautiful culture, and we just need to learn about it. And it's so vibrant. I think it just makes the whole room light up when you have something like that.
That's awesome. That's
Yes,
awesome.
yes.
Well, Aurora, it's been a pleasure chatting with you about this. Of course, the people can find you, I imagine, on plenty of different platforms, everywhere. If you see the billboards around town, you can certainly see Aurora and your beautiful dog as well.
Yes, Chino.
Chino,
Yes.
yeah, he's a border collie.
He's a Sheltie.
Okay.
And he comes to work with me every single day. So if you want, there's people that walk into my office and they're like, is Chino here? And I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm okay
I'm
too.
also here.
Yeah, I'm also here. But honestly, I have 2 couples that walk every day, and they go in for their chino hug because they just love my dog. And
He's such an amazing dog. Why not? All right,
Yes.
Aurora Prieto from Newland ERA is also with her events coordination with Aurora's Creations. Thank you
Yes.
so much for
Thank you
joining
for having
us.
me.
Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Wendy Woodring. Thank you for enjoying this video with me today. We want to make a papel picado. Before we start that, I'm an artist, a local artist here in San Angelo, and my specialty is acrylics, so I have a couple paintings over here. So, well, the interesting thing here today is because we want to make papel picado. This is special for Dia de los Muertos. This is the materials we want to need today. So we have here different colors of tissues. You can choose the colors. And we want to need papers for make templates, a couple of punches for make holes, any kind of cord or stray or yarn, glue, and scissors, okay, or cutter, a couple of pencils, and your cutting mat. So we can start to take one of those papers for make your template. So the size is 7 by 10 inches, but you can choose any size. It's not perfectly ruled. It doesn't have to be perfect. So, and here you want to take one of your pencils. You want to start to draw any designs. For example, right here we have flowers, different kind of flowers or hearts, and make a skull over here. But for example, here I'm going to start to make a cactus, so you can choose, or you can use your imagination to do this kind of templates. When you finish to draw your idea, you want to start to cut. Okay, you can use one of your scissors or one of your cutter. So that's why we need the cutting mat here. And just be careful, we want to start to cut your draw. You have your template. Just take the pieces off. And imagine we finish, and when you extend, you have your design. And when you have your design complete, I want to put this in one side. You can choose one of these papers, any color you want. And you can use one of the templates. Sorry, let me take away this paper here. We want to bend this, fold this paper again, and making sure this template fit here on your paper. And you want to start to cut with your cutter. You design in this tissue paper. I know it's a long process, but the result is very cool. It's, for example, that one right here. But this is when you have ideas more a little complicated, so you have more details to your designs. But I have another option. I think it's very easier. Imagine. You have your paper, okay. This is your complete sheet, right? So just I want to fold in half. I want to fold again in half. And I want to start to make squares. It's important here we need to leave a little space on top because we want to glue this with my cordon to have this string, right? So I want to fold again. I want to make a triangles right here. If we want to make scissors, I want to start to make cuts here, like a little hearts, if you extend this, you can start to see your idea right there. I want to bend again. I want to cut the end, and I want to cut with the other side to make a little designs here. Another little heart. If you extend this, you can see you have a design already right here. So I want to bend again. I want to leave it just right here, and I want to make another cut over here. You see? Okay, now you have 4 because we bent this big sheet in 4 pieces. So I want to cut in the middle. And again, I am sorry. Here. And we have 2 pieces here already. And remember, we leave a little space on top, right? So now we want to take a little piece of this cordon, cord or yarn, doesn't matter. And I'm going to take my glue. I'm going to put a little glue here on the top part. And just want to pass my jar over here. I'm gonna put a little more. And you start to make it your papel picado. So you can do this with different colors. Different designs. This is very fun. Just try to find a way to bend your paper, your tissue paper, and start to cut. Or maybe you can do the same design just with different kind of colors or your tissue colors. And this is it. And then you can put it with the complete your decoration with the altar de muertos. And that's it. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for being here to celebrate our first Dia de los Muertos. And I wanted to take a little bit of time for us to talk about the importance to us individually, why we took on the responsibility of creating this organization. And I'd like to start off with Monette, if you wouldn't mind telling us why is this so important to you?
Well, you know, I grew up in Alpine, and in the south side part of town, and which we always say you live in el barrio and everything. And you know, as you get older, you start appreciating your history, your culture, and your different traditions. And so here in San Angelo, I've been here 45 years, and I've always felt that I wanted to kind of implement same things that I felt in Alpine, and I still stay really close to my roots back home in Alpine. So when Dale called me and said, hey, we want to do this, we want to get a committee together and plan the history and talk about the history of Hispanics, I said, wow, yeah, that's great. I love that, because I think that is so important for us to be able to continue to you know, talk about the history, about the Hispanics, the leaders that have been here in this area that need to be recognized.
Yeah, and you forgot to tell them that you were the president of the Southside Lions Club.
Right, I'm still
which
the president.
is, and still the president.
I think I've been with the Southside Lions Club about 20-something years, and the last 15 years I've been the president of the Southside Lions Club and chairman of the Fiestas Patrias en Cinco de Mayo. And with the COVID and everything going on, we kind of haven't done anything this past year, but hopefully next year we'll be ready for it.
Yeah, and you're going to get to learn more about the Southside Lions Club and its impact in our community if you come to our museum when it gets ready to go.
Yes, that's great. Yeah.
Monica, tell us why you think this is important.
Well, it's very, very important to me coming in as one of the younger generations, I would say, because I can pass along this knowledge and education because honestly, even at my age, I see a lot of things in myself that I don't carry on culturally Hispanic wise, and I think it is important actually for us to do that. It should be taught and it should be carried on through our generations, and not only with that as far as our culture, but also for our younger generations to know that anything is possible and to stand up, educate yourself, be empowered, move forward, and make something of yourself, that there are possibilities out there that are available to you.
Thank you. That's awesome. Susanna, you kind of instigated all this.
Well, being like a third, fourth generation Texan, it's different because, you get that, you didn't get to have those traditions or learn those. I wasn't taught those growing up. And when I had my daughter, I wanted for her to do folklorico dancing, and at that time there was really not anybody teaching it. So she missed out on that opportunity, but I was always curious about the different traditions and everything. And then of course last year when the El Paso shootings happened, that really struck a chord for me because I've never felt different than anyone else. I'm an American and I just felt like anyone else. And so when that happened, it was just like a wake-up call that people do care about the color of your skin. And I just felt a call to bring to everyone's attention that we, the Hispanic community, have made a contribution to, our city, the state, and the U.S. And I just wanted to bring those positive contributions forward. And it's been so amazing learning all of the history of the people that have contributed, from Maria Cárdenas with the single-member district to Alma Hawkes with the La Esperanza Clinic, and even Monette, like everything she's done. So it's really neat for me to learn that, and I just don't want for that to get lost. So I'm really excited about hopefully these traditions getting picked up again and people really getting interested and educated about what they're really about, because on the surface sometimes people think that they mean something but they don't, because culture is so deep that you really do need to learn and research so that you can be educated on your neighbor. So I'm really excited about the museum, and I'm excited to work with you guys. All of them are amazing and making really great contributions. So
thank you. And for me personally, I was very blessed to be able to be in a program at a major corporation. And when I looked around, there wasn't very many of me around, or people like me around. And so I felt that there was a missing link in terms of how we were out doing outreach in the Hispanic community. And as a major corporation, I was on the first task force to address the outreach to Hispanics at a national level, and that really brought me even closer to understanding the very diverse culture that we live in, because I had to work with the Cuban Americans, with Dominicans, with Puerto Ricans, and it went down the line, 22 Hispanic origins that I had the opportunity to work with, and I saw how important and what a contribution we were making at the national level. And so now being here in San Angelo and having a chance to talk about what we've done as a community is very important to me personally, and so I want to see how we could move this forward. With that said, we've got a guest waiting in the wings, ready to perform for us, Mr. Willie Alvarado.
This next song we're doing is titled Solamente una vez, and it was written by Mexico's Agustin Lara, great composer. He wrote this song among many other love songs, and it's about the true love of your life, that you only have that true love sensation once in a lifetime. And this song I want to dedicate to a very special lady, Miss Eva Camuñez Tucker. Miss Eva was a great friend of mine and a great person in this community. And we tremendously miss you, Miss Tucker. And this was her favorite song. So hope you enjoy it. Solamente una vez amé en la vida, solamente una vez y nada más. Una vez nada más en mi huerto brilló la esperanza. La esperanza que alumbra el camino en mi soledad. Una vez nada más se entrega el alma con la dulce y total renunciación. Y cuando ese milagro realiza el prodigio de amarse, hay campanas de fiesta que cantan en el corazón. Una vez nada más se entrega el alma con la dulce y total renunciación. Y cuando ese milagro realiza el prodigio de amarse, hay campanas de fiesta que cantan en el corazón. Hay campanas de fiesta que cantan en el corazón. Hope you enjoyed our songs to celebrate el Día de los Muertos. And I hope you enjoy the special holiday celebrating those loved ones who have passed away. Thank you.
Well, that's going to do it for show number 1 of the Dia de los Muertos celebration presented by the San Angelo Hispanic Heritage Museum and Cultural Center. For Motion Verse Media, I'm Manny Diaz. Good night, and God bless.